Hey, my name's Ed, welcome to my channel. I make, modify and mend things, and this week I'm making some interior walls for my 43-foot narrowboat Joshua, and my help has just arrived. Hello! Right, so the plan is to make the toilet today, or the toilet room anyway, and I've actually changed my plan slightly from how I'd planned to do it. The old boat had single width 18mm chipboard, which was faced with a kind of a wood grain effect laminate. So the total thickness of the walls was only 18mm, and they did feel quite bendy and not very confidence inspiring. And I wanted to make something a little bit more solid, but I wasn't really sure how to go about doing that. So I asked a question in the boat interior Facebook groups, and people told me to make studwork walls, which was something I hadn't even considered because I thought it would just be too bulky for the boat. But actually, the more I think about it, the more I think it is a good idea. So I'm going to do studwork walls, but like mini studwork, so a lot smaller than the stuff you'd use in houses. The only problem is it is going to change the dimensions of the room slightly. I need to keep the outside dimensions roughly the same because of the way the doors across the corridor work, which means I'm going to lose a little bit of space inside the room, which is a shame, but I think that's a worthy sacrifice because it also means I can hide cables down inside the wall. I can run pipe work inside the wall. Whether or not that's a good idea remains to be seen, but it will look really neat. And so that's what I've decided to do. I do have to make sure that I'm careful about these traps because I've got 2 traps that are in the floor for pipe work, for access. I need to make sure those aren't covered. But other than that, and there's other bits like the outlet for the sink, which was in place for the 18mm thick walls. So just things like that I need to bear in mind. This is all off mic, so apologies for the sound quality. So we've marked out a line which denotes the outside dimensions of the room. So this is the largest that the room can be while retaining the dimensions of the corridor and stuff. And luckily it looks like we can fit the stud wall between the outside of the room and the trap, so that's good news. It means that it's not going to affect the traps or anything. The dimensions of this new wall are going to be 54mm versus 18mm of the old walls, plus a little batten that used to be on the outside of the old walls. But this is going to be a lot thicker, so I am going to lose a little bit of space on the inside of the room, but I think it's going to be worthwhile for how sturdy they're going to feel. So yeah, we've marked that, and the next stage is to get the corner post in, and then we can build from there. Yeah, because we said do 1,384. Yeah. No, it just stayed at. So it's got to be that way, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's actually we're going to have to shave a little off.
Are we?
Because it's. If I put my finger there, it won't move then. If we push up against it.
Of course, the ceiling does move a bit.
Oh yeah. We needed to mark on the ceiling.
So we've got the first piece cut and in, and that is now. I don't want to say level. It's not going to be level, but it's perpendicular. Is that the word? To the floor. So we've measured using this big square, and it is square to the floor, which is what's important. So now we've got that sort of key piece in, so to speak. Now we're just going to measure for the battens that come across at the top and the bottom. that's all right. So we've got the first wall in. It's taken us most of the day to do this, but we're checking, we're measuring twice and cutting once, and we've not had to trim anything so far, so we're doing all right. So yeah, we've got this first wall in. I'm probably eventually going to put like another vertical here, just to give it a bit more rigidity where there's this huge cavity. But anyway, for now, we're going to move on to the opposite wall to this one on the other end of the toilet room. And what's quite nice is we can now use this wall to measure off, because before we didn't really want to measure off of this wall because this wall is really bowed behind it, and nothing is really square or straight in this boat. So now we've got something that we're happy with. We can use this as like a datum for everything else basically. Okay, so we didn't record this end, but we've now put this end in as well. So now you can kind of get a feel for how big the toilet room is going to be and the bedroom at the back. It's actually crazy how different it feels in here, just having these two walls up. And I mean, they're not even solid walls yet, but it still feels really like you're in a room when you're standing in between them. And at the back as well, it really feels like you're kind of in the bedroom, and you get much more of a feel for the space or what it's going to be like eventually. The next step is you might have noticed that we've missed out the piece here, and that's because this waste trap here I'm going to try and hide in the wall. So obviously we've left a gap there, and I'm not quite sure what that's going to look like yet, so we've just left it there. And the same with the other wall at the back there. I'm going to try and hide all my plumbing, or a lot of my plumbing, in the wall. And the water heater is actually affixed to this wall, and the flue goes out the roof there. So I'm going to put extra supports in. Like I've got this vertical here and the same here, but they're not actually fixed in yet until I know exactly where the pipes are going to go. So that's the next job really. I'm back at this again. I'm by myself today, so we'll see how much I get done. I have added some braces to this back wall of the bathroom here. It looks a bit ridiculous. I was going to put insulation in these gaps to kind of deaden any noises and make it sound more solid. But I'm going to mount my water heater on this wall, and I didn't think a single sheet of 9mm ply would hold the weight of the heater. It's not massively heavy, but 9mm ply is not very thick. So I've put these braces to mount the water heater to, which doesn't leave much room for insulation. It looks a bit ridiculous now, but I mean, it's going to hold the weight, so that's what's important. My hand wash basin is going to be mounted on this wall, on this side. So that should mount to this brace here. And I probably will put another central one in, just to sort of make it feel more solid, similar to the bottom one here. So yeah, and today I'm hoping to get this wall closed in. There is going to be a doorway, so there's just a longer wall at the back and then a slightly shorter piece here, I think. I've not fully decided. I'm kind of just winging this now. I had all the cladding and the wiring and everything planned out. This stage I didn't really get as far as thinking about this lot, so I'm kind of just winging it and doing it as I go. But I do need to move the boat, so before I start any of this, I'm going to move. I always choose the rainy days to move. Raining or blowing a gale. Morning. Right, I've moved. This is my new spot. Seems quite nice, but let's get on with the work. So the tea's on, and I was doing some thinking while I was cruising, and I'm not actually sure what I'm going to be doing with the interior walls and the doors for the toilet and the shower room yet. I'm thinking about making some arrangement where the doors open up and make one larger room. So it's easier to dry yourself and get dressed, because that was always a problem in the old layout. So rather than go down a road where I've only got one way of doing it, instead of boxing this room in, I'm actually going to start the walls for the shower room, because I know the shower is going to have a wall at this end and a wall at that end, basically the mirror image of this. And then I can decide what to do with the two walls that close the rooms off afterwards. I've got the most of the four walls up now. I am going to be putting sort of braces in these large sections that have got big voids in. Same with that one at the back there. But I don't know where they're going to go yet, because I've got, on this one, I've got pipes that are going to come up. And I don't know exactly where they're going to be yet. So I'm going to wait until I know where the pipes are. The same for this one. This is not actually fixed in yet. Because I've got a waste pipe that's going to come from the sink and go into here. I'm pretty happy with how quickly this came together, to be honest. And also, considering I had planned for something else and I changed my plans, I was going to have these as just 18mm ply walls, and now they're 54mm thick. So all the wires were in the wrong place, but mostly it's been okay. I mean, I've managed to tuck these into one of the grooves between the tongue and groove, and then it comes down. I've cut a little rebate in there, so that will go flush in there. And this is the kitchen light switch, which goes on this side of this wall. So that's worked out okay. And I've done the same for these. This is the shower room light switch cables. So they landed bang on, which was really nice. And the same for the bedroom light switch. They were almost bang on. They're a little bit. They're going to be a tiny bit in the room. I'm probably going to have to cut a bit of a rebate in the ply that lines this. But other than that, This one is going to give me the biggest problem because when I put the wall in for the toilet, this is nowhere near the wall. This is going to be a good 30 or 40 mil out from the wall, which is kind of annoying, but considering I hadn't planned to do this, having one wire visible isn't going to be a massive deal. So I don't really know what the next stage is. I think I need to buy a hand basin because then I can figure out where exactly that's going to be and where my door is going to be. I haven't done the dividing walls yet because I'm not sure how I'm going to do the shower yet. So I think I'd need to buy a shower tray and see how that fits and where I need to put the pipework for the shower before I really do anything else. So it's been a few days, I'm back at this, and I've decided that I am just going to put the walls up as they were. So there's going to be a wall on this room and there's going to be a wall on the shower as well. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. I've dithered around, I don't have that much time, but I've done all the hard work where I've actually needed to measure really precisely, and these walls just fill in the gaps now, minus the space for the door, so it shouldn't be as time consuming. So I'm going to get on with that. No, I've had enough now, so I'm going to head off. But I've finished this wall, which is really, really good. And now I've put this wall on. It's really strengthened up this one because I've got the stud work at 90 degrees to itself on the corner, and it's really strengthened up the corner. I can put all my body weight against that and it doesn't move anywhere, so I'm really pleased with that. So the framework for this room is now done, and I think the next task is probably get some 9mm ply to clad the inside, and then I can start marking where pipework's going to need to go through it and stuff. And also I need to buy a sink, and I made this little template because I don't want the sink to block the door, which, if it was a rectangular sink, I actually went to B&Q to look at sinks today, and this piece of cardboard is the dimensions of a rectangular sink I liked, but it's massive and it blocks the door, sort of, when you walk in. So that oval circle on the cardboard, I don't know if you can see that, is the dimensions to a oval sink that I also quite liked, and it kind of cuts the corner off, so it gives you a bit more space on the entrance to the room. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to go with an oval or a round sink to give me a bit more space, and it's going to be a countertop sink, so I can put it almost against the wall and then have a wall mounted tap with the pipework routed behind the wall. So that should keep things nice and tight to the wall and give me as much space as possible in that bathroom. So yeah, it's coming together. So it's such a beautiful day, and I'm hoping this is the last day on the internal walls. I came here on my £10 bike today, £10 Facebook Marketplace bike. So yeah, I've got a few little bits to button up, like where the cable comes out here. I'm just going to put a bit of a rebate in this beam here so that they can sit flush. I thought this was because I'd changed my plan with the walls, but actually, even with my original plan, these cable would have been in the wrong place anyway. So that's just a mistake when I measured it all out. I am going to build the third wall on the shower today, and I think the door is just going to be at that end, and then a 400mm gap for the doorway, and then whatever's left will just be a wall all the way to this corner. I looked at shower trays online, and most shower trays seem to be 670mm, like that's a common size, and I've just put a tape across my room and it's bang on 670mm. I haven't planned this, that is just a total fluke. So another thing, I'm not going to do anything about it today, but because I've put this hardwood engineered floor down, I've actually lost, I think it's 19mm thick. I've lost that much thickness on the height of the room. which is obviously going to impact on the headroom in the shower. So I'm thinking maybe I'll have to pull up some of this flooring where the shower tray goes to gain some more height, or just to get back to how much height I had before, because also the tongue and groove I've put in is also thicker than the old stuff that was in here. So I've lost probably almost 30 mil on the headroom in this boat, which is fine most places, but in the shower, that's where you're going to really notice it the most. So I might have to do something about that, but I can do that later when I'm fitting out the shower room. At the moment, I'm just going to build the carcass of the room and leave it. That's probably going to be the last thing that I'm going to finish. So the first job is I've got a little step here where the hard floor joins the engineered floor, and they're slightly different thicknesses, and it's not allowing this beam to go fully back to this beam. So I'm just going to put a little notch in here. I'm going to mark it out. I think this, yeah, that's roughly, so that is my height. And then I'm just going to measure the gap, and that's about 5.5, 6 mil. So I'm just going to mark that onto my beam. Let's just mark that at 5 mil. I don't think 1 mil is going to hurt either way. Let's try that. Right, let's see if I cut this right. Well, it looks pretty good to me. The rebate's a little bit big, but that doesn't matter. Cool. I'll get this one fixed in. So I've spent a couple of hours just finishing this third wall and a shower, and it's all in and rigid now. And yeah, same as the other side. Now I've got these corner pieces in. It's really solid. And actually, what I ended up doing on this corner is I have put another corner piece in just to give this wall some rigidity. And yeah, so the doorway, that doorway is now 400 mil. It's pretty parallel. So yeah, the toilet and the shower, the structure of the rooms is completed. I also tickled about and did a few other little bits, like I've just cut this slot into that beam there, which contains the wires, and obviously you still see them trailing across the ceiling, but you know what, I'm over that now. It's fine. Like I said, I've never done anything like this before, so there's bound to be things like that happen along the way. So I'm going to leave it there for this video. I hope it was interesting. I know I've got a habit of going on a little bit, so apologies if I waffled a bit too much. I've had tons of new subscribers since my last video, so massive thank you if you're one of those people. If you've not subscribed to me but you've enjoyed this video, then please consider subscribing. And if you enjoyed this video, then there's more boat updates up here, and there's more of my random projects up here. And I'll see you on the next one.